We're brothers. We're happy and we're singing and we're colored. Give me a high five.
We're switching from Restream pretty soon because every day I feel like there's something new with the intro. They could disrespect the whole show, not the intro, not the intro.
Yeah.
But what's going
You
on,
can't
everybody?
do the intro,
That's
bro.
what I'm
That's
saying.
us.
That's what I'm saying.
The intro's fire, man. You can't mess that up.
It pissing me off, bro. But what's going on, everybody? Man, it's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, here with my brothers from another mother's bunch of mothers and love and hate at the same time. But I'm here with my guy James George. We best of enemies. We back, man. What's up, boys? How y'all doing, man? We took a week off. It felt like a whole year. It's nice to be back on the show. How y'all been?
I'm good, man. Happy to be here. Football was on last night. Slept in this morning, so life's good, man. Can't complain about anything.
Y'all both slept in this morning.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's normal. That's normal though. But preseason football happened last night again. Cowboys got a rare preseason victory, and some players that we've been looking to turn up a little bit, and one in particular that everybody been having their eyes on, played pretty good last night.
Yeah. I mean, it's been interesting. I want to so this week we're gonna kind of do what we did last time we were on here, kind of talk about what's going on with each team. Any questions that you guys have in the chat, definitely throw it in the chat. Any questions we have, obviously we'll throw it up there as well. But I want to ask y'all first, because this has been kind of a topic of contention. There's been a lot of different opinions on this, and I want to know how y'all feel as far as starters go in the preseason, because we see a juxtaposition. You look at the Eagles, we haven't played any of our starters on offense really, but you look at the Bears, they had their starters in till I think the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left. So there's different opinions when it comes to the preseason and starters. But how do y'all feel mainly about your team? Because obviously we're all kind of in different situations too. How do you feel about starters playing in the preseason? How would you kind of work it out?
I think it depends on the age of the team, right? And kind of where your team is settled. I think with you in Philadelphia, the team is a little bit more settled, more of you guys know what you are. You guys have your personality set up. You guys have your schemes already in place. With Washington, we're still kind of refining, kind of figuring out who we are. So it is that delicate balance, because I think we do want to play our starters. We played them about a quarter yesterday, which I think is about a fair slate. I think we get to go out there. It ended up being too serious for Jaden Daniels. It's funny because you want them to go out there and you want them to practice, but at the same time, you also want to protect them in their health, right? I think our season in DC relies on Jaden Daniels. So we kind of have to be careful with what we do with him. So I kind of like the fact that we teased him a little bit, but he's come out twice, looked efficient both times, and two good drives to get him out of there, get his confidence up, and then bubble wrap him for the preseason. I don't think they're gonna. Sorry, for the regular season. I don't think he's gonna play in week 3. So it was good. Good little run this week.
For me, I guess I'm half and half, because I see the Chiefs. I see a lot of these other top teams that are playing Patrick Mahomes and those guys, and you're like, why is he in your head? You're kind of like, I understand why they're playing him, but if Patrick Mahomes would get hurt on a freak accident, first thing they'll say is, why the hell was you playing Patrick Mahomes? You don't need to. That don't make no damn sense of what you were just trying to do. So it's like a slippery slope, because one part of me wants to see the first team offense with Dak and a couple series just to see it, just to get them in the mood of football, just to get their juices flowing, just to get that camaraderie, just to get the balance, I guess. So I definitely just want to see that the first couple series, and then you go sit down. But at the same time, those injuries are scary. You done already had a major injury with Sam Williams in training camp, so you think about those things. And right now, the way with CD still holding out, you think, kind of keep Dak out too, because you just don't want no drama happening right now with that. But so to me, it's kind of hard, because part of me wants to see those first team, but I would say more part of me wants to see those younger guys play. This was the year, in my opinion, I didn't want to see Dak. We wanted to see Trey Lance. This is the year we wanted to see Trey Lance. He was on the team all last year, and everybody wanted to see him. So this, to me, was the opportune. This should be his preseason. And really, they played Cooper Rush a couple series. I didn't even want to see him. They should have played Trey Lance the whole damn game, because we already know what Cooper Rush is.
Yeah. I mean, George kind of alluded to it with the Eagles. We do have we know who we are to a certain extent, but we do have a lot of new players. We do have a lot of new players. I know that you kind of lean on the fact that, at the end of the day, Saquon Barkley is a professional. He's played football for his whole life. He knows what's going to happen come week one. So you feel good about that. But I think it's more of the fan in me that wants to see these guys play. But yeah, you guys are both right. I think it really does depend on where you are as a team. And I'm happy to see the young guys play, to be honest. I'm happy to be able to see Johnny Wilson out there. Happy to be able to get guys reps that, you never really might not be able to see. And guys like Nakobe Dean is really on the bubble. I don't want to say as a roster spot. I feel like he's going to make the roster no matter what, but he's definitely on the bubble. Is he a starter? Is he a backup? Is he a guy that we're going to give up on after this year? I mean, there's a lot of question marks around some of these guys. So for those type of players, I think that it's big. I think for a guy like James Bradbury to just kind of be able to say he might not be good, what I'm saying? He just might be good. I think for guys like that, it's important to be able to get them out there because even though it's not the top competition, right? You're not out there playing the best players for 4 quarters. It's not a real game, quote unquote. It's good to see what they're going to be able to do, especially in a new system. Right now, we're getting to see Fangio's system, and that's one thing I am excited about. Maybe it's not. I mean, we haven't really given up a lot of points. I will say that we haven't given up a lot of points, but it is preseason. But you see the preparation for this defense now. I said this last year. I felt like we didn't have coaching. Felt like people weren't coached. I felt like they weren't prepared. This year, you're at least seeing, linebackers move with wide receivers. You're seeing the communication in the back. So I think, like you said, for young players, and I think for new systems, it's important to kind of see what you got going out there. But I do want to talk about these preseason games and just what we're seeing from these players, because I think there's a lot of things happening for all of our teams right now, and even the Giants. We could talk about the Giants. But before we get into that, shout out to everybody in the chat. We got 100 people in the chat. We needed our coffee. It looks like the chat needs their coffee too. So, what I'm saying? Get your coffee in you and let's get this chat going. But shout out to everybody already in the chat. We appreciate y'all. I know it's a random Sunday, 12 o'clock. But I want to start. I started it last week, so I want to start. I was going to start with James. I guess we're not. We'll start with George.
I can start off. It's fine.
Yeah. And just let me know what's going on with your squad, how you feeling so far about them. And just about the Washington Commanders. Where are they?
So we're looking pretty good, man. So the big story this whole offseason, we talk about it all the time on this show, is basically what is Jaden Daniels? So what is he, right? And basically the last 2 weeks, he's been looking really strong. So last week against the Jets, he came out for 1 series. I believe he was 4 for 5, threw a 42-yard strike, and he also did a zone read run around for the touchdown. The big thing with him last week is that basically there was a play where Cliff Kingsbury called a screen, like a bubble screen, and Jaden Daniels saw that it was not going to be effective. It was pretty well covered, and he audibled out, and he basically just had an all-out, vert route for his wide receivers, and all go, and he basically did that on his own accord. It was funny. I don't know if you guys caught it in the media, but Dan Quinn said, he wasn't supposed to do that. It was kind of like, I don't know if you guys ever watched that movie Top Gun, where Maverick flies by the tower and it kind of shakes everything up. Dan Quinn said that. He's like Top Gun. He asked for permission to fly by the tower, but he didn't get it, but he did it anyway, right? So Jaden Daniels, audibled on his own, did that whole vert route, took a shot 40 yards downfield, and it was successful. So I like that. People were it was funny. DC. I'm sure y'all see it in Philly and in Dallas, sports talk, drama, all that extra stuff, right? They're like, oh, man, is Jaden Daniels like a malcontent for audibling it out? Is there a split between the coach and the quarterback? I'm like, dude, come on. There's a rookie quarterback that saw there was bad coverage, audibled out, and took a 40-yard shot. So for me, that was awesome. I love to see that. So that was the Jets last week. This week, Jaden Daniels, same thing, right? Walks out. Basically, I don't know if it was, I'm sure it was intentional, but I don't know what the purpose was behind it. But Cliff Kingsbury basically started off with up-tempo offense. It was basically a hurry-up offense the entire time Jaden Daniels was in the game for about 1 quarter. So it was 2 series. And it was great. Jaden Daniels walked up. He was 10 for 12. I believe it was 78 yards or 98 yards. I don't have it in front of me. But he walked away with a 93.8 QBR rating. And it was awesome, guys. It was fun to watch because 1, 2, 3, throw. 1, 2, 3, throw. It was Jaden Daniels was in rhythm. He knew where to go. He was getting rid of the ball quickly. So that was very impressive. So I like this. I think Jaden Daniels is as advertised. On top of that, he had 2 zone read runs where he basically, faked the running back, fake a run up the middle, then basically ran outside as a quarterback run. So I think that's going to be a bigger element throughout the season. I think they're kind of teasing it now in the preseason, but I was happy with that. And I'll pause for now about the quarterbacks. I have a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about, but any questions about Daniels so far?
My only question about Jaden Daniels is where you brought up obviously the hurry up offense. You brought up, him audibling out. Is there any like indication of what this offense is going to be? Do you feel like you're going to be a team that's reliant on Daniels to make decisions and go out, year one, or is it going to be a running team and, just kind of let Daniels learn as he goes? Do you think they're going to throw him into the fire, or is he kind of, get nurtured along?
I think they're good. Like, they haven't really said it yet, but like from reading the tea leaves, I feel like they're slowly spoon feeding Jaden Daniels. I don't think they're going to throw it all on him. Last year we had Eric Bieniemy. He was the most pass happy offensive coordinator in the whole league and the least run happy. He had the least amount of runs in the entire league last year. I think we're gonna have more of a balance. Brian Robinson, let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys even know who Brian Robinson is, or do you like Brian Robinson? Do you guys know who I'm talking about?
Is he the running back?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, didn't he get shot last year? He got
shot last year, right? Yeah, I'm just saying that's how. That's how I remember him. He came back from that injury. Yeah, I remember him coming back from that injury and turning up. And he's a good, solid running back. He's young, and I think that's one of the reasons why y'all were looking to move away from the other guy because he
Gibson
came out of nowhere, and turned up really nice.
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm trying to get at is Brian Robinson's kind of underrated around the league. Like, no one really knows about him, to be honest with you. Like I told you last time, I think he's like a Rashad Penny, like Chris Carson kind of type. He's a bruiser power back. He can catch the ball a little bit too, kind of floating around 1,000 yards rushing. I think we're going to run a lot with him, and I think they're going to try to take away the pressure from Jaden Daniels. Like for me, it's just total skepticism. I'm thinking outside. I think they're going to run the ball with Brian Robinson. I think they're going to incorporate like RPO to kind of slow the blitz because, our offensive line isn't strong. So we have to kind of like manipulate the offensive line. And I think there'll be some zone read with Daniels running as well. But all that being said, I think Daniels is a good passer. Like, I think people think of him as like Lamar Jackson, like early Lamar Jackson, or more of a runner. I think Daniels is a passer that runs as opposed to a runner that passes, if that makes any sense. So I think Daniels is going to get rid of the ball. So we'll see.
I respect that. If you got a question, James, before you keep going.
Well, I think just with me, I just feel like they're going to throw Jaden Daniels right in there in the fire. Like, he came in the first few possessions. He looked calm. He doesn't look like obviously he's a rookie. Obviously, he's still going to go through those ups and downs. But, from my perspective, I'm like, go ahead and throw him on in the fire. The only thing I worry about him, I don't worry because he ain't on my team. But he is slight.
Yes,
so they I know Washington, y'all better protect him because he does look slight. And I know they still like to do the RPO, maybe some RPOs, but he looks like. I want to ask you this: do you feel like he's more the pocket passer because he ran a lot of LSU and we saw what he did? But it looks like he likes trying to kind of stand up. Do you think that they're going to kind of protect him and kind of keep him more of a pocket pass instead of like getting him out there because of his slightness as far as his build?
I think they're going to try to hide him. I don't think they want to expose him to too many hits. So we'll see how that works out. I think he's going to get, like, from what I've seen, because obviously when you go to training camp, they block things off with the real plays and all that. I think that they're going to try to use him as a pocket passer, but maybe bootlegs and manipulate the pocket a little bit. Maybe the RPO, like I talked about, because the RPO that freezes the blitz, right? You can't fully commit and blitz on the running back. You have to make a decision. So they're going to do that as well. I think they want him passing the ball. Like, if you guys, all you guys in the chat as well watching the show, go online. There's basically a second or third play. Jaden Daniels did a zone read and gained like 15, 16 yards, and he didn't slide. He basically was like, took like a slight hit and went down, and Dan Quinn like berated him on the sideline. Yo, get down, like yelled at him, because I don't think they want him being exposed to that. I think he's smart enough to not be like that, but you never know. You're an athlete. You want to commit. Now, you're right, James. That was the knock on him. He would get lit up when he was out in the open field. He would have like comical hits against him. So I think they're worried, I think they're going to try to protect him in that way. A little segue. the big thing in DC last week, the drama around here. And I want to hear about all y'all drama, so you got to keep it real with me too. The drama around DC last week was who was the wide receiver too. Like that's the kind of the big thing. I don't know if you guys caught that. But Jahan Dotson, we drafted him in the first round 2 years ago, number 16 overall pick. I love Jahan Dotson. I think he's a great route runner. I think he has great hands, but he's undersized. And I think he was, to be honest with you, I think he was a reach at 16. Like I think there were other wide receivers that are out there, maybe get him, late in the first round, early second round. He's a slot guy, but he was playing boundary here in DC. So I think, the last regime drafted him. He came here to DC. They're trying to find a way to incorporate him. But I don't know if this name rings a bell to you guys. You guys remember Diami Brown? Does that ring a bell to you guys?
Yeah.
So Diami Brown was a wide receiver one when Sam Howell was the quarterback at UNC. He's more of a deep threat, kind of like a Troy Franklin type guy, but bigger. And Diami Brown's having a great camp. We've unlocked him because Brown was pretty bad here in DC the past couple of years. So now it's Diami Brown, potentially wide receiver 2, putting Jahan Dotson in the slot. How are they going to incorporate them? So that was kind of the drama here in DC, but I think they're both going to be used. And I don't know. It's interesting. So people are in drama. Like, is Jahan Dotson going to be traded? Is he not going to be there? But I think Jahan Dotson's fine. He'll be okay.
Yeah, I could send him to Philly.
He's from Philly. He's a good
Didn't he go to Penn State?
Yeah, he went to Penn State for sure. Yeah.
I'll take him. So, hey, but let me ask you this question. Do you think your offense is going to – because I feel like every time you talk about the Commanders or whatever their name is for the year, you talk about their defense. I think that's usually the first thing you bring up. Is that going to change? Do you think that this is the type of team that can change that narrative?
So what's funny, like obviously we're talking about the game yesterday. The offense has looked great the past 2 preseason games. The defense hasn't looked good the past 2 games, which kind of rose my eyebrows a little bit, right? Like looking at yesterday, Jaden Daniels marched down the field. He basically, 2 drives marched down the field. And then our field goal kicker, this is good red flag. Our field goal kicker stinks, dude. Riley Patterson, he's not going to be on the team. He missed 2 field goals yesterday. The first 2 field goals, he was 1 for 3 to start off the game. So he kind of ruined it there. I think our offense is going to be pretty good. I think the only thing I'm worried about, and Drew's asking about it, the offensive line. I am kind of worried about the offensive line protecting Daniels. That is a concern of mine. I think Brian Robinson is going to be a good running back. I think he's going to be a good power back. I think Eckler is going to be a good kind of scat back out of the backfield. I'm not worried about McLaurin. I think a little secret, I think that's going to pop out is Ben Sinnott, guys. You and I talked about it last time. He's kind of been like a blocker fullback during camp, but I think he actually, when he catches the ball, I'll put a clip in the chat or something like that, or, on our feed. Dude, he's hard to bring down in the open field, man. He's a pinball, knocking people out. So I'm excited about that too. So I think our offense will be pretty solid. I think it's gonna be better than people expect, in my opinion. But I'm worried about our defense.
So you did answer Drew's question. Somebody in James' chat actually had a question about the Commanders as well. And it was about Emmanuel Forbes. It basically just asked what about Emmanuel Forbes?
Man, throw him away.
Yeah, you talk about slight. That boy's he's slight.
All of us have that one guy on the team, right? So Emmanuel Forbes is that guy, the guy that basically people just crushed in media, right? I think it might be Dak for the Cowboys. I don't know who it is for the maybe Jacoby Dean, maybe. I don't know who it is.
Yeah, we got a couple.
Yeah, a couple. Emmanuel Forbes is that dude. People light Emmanuel Forbes up, and it's justified, man. I'll be straight up. I'm always gonna be straight up on this show. He gets tore up, man. He's small, and I think it's a mental game. I'll be straight up on the NFC East pod. AJ Brown broke him, man. That one game against AJ Brown. Yep. AJ Brown broke him, and his mental is gone now. He bullied him because, dude, it's like 165, 170 got 5 going.
I don't even think he was that, dog. I don't even think he was that.
He's lying. He's lying.
Yeah, he lying. He like 150. He like 150.
Yeah, 150. He 150.
He 150, dog.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, right? So he got cooked. He got cooked, and like that, and he's also small, so he doesn't help out in the run game. So between both of those, he was actually like starting to get benched as the year went on last year. But we'll see what happens. So far in camp, he hasn't been good. There was one game where, we had 2 joint practices. I don't know if you guys know that. We had a joint practice with the Jets, joint practice with the Dolphins. Garrett Wilson was cooking him during the joint practice. And like, there's one video, you guys should Google it. It was funny. It was like some little 10-year-old kid. He was like, Emmanuel Forbes is trash. Garrett Wilson's going to burn him. He was like recording the video. And legitimately, Garrett Wilson, like right after he said that, Garrett Wilson burnt him and cooked him. It was a really embarrassing, bad video. So Forbes, I'm worried about. We'll see what happens. The one thing that I will say is on my show, I had Lake Lewis, who's a beat reporter for the Commanders. He was on my show. We were talking. He was like, George, he's like, dude, last year the defensive backs coach was trash. Like he was legitimately, he went from high school coach to NFL coach. Like there was no college experience. And Lake Lewis was like, dude, he said, why would you ever do that, right? Why would you ever do that, right? So basically what ended up happening is like, George, view Forbes as this is his rookie year. Now he has Dan Quinn and Joe Witt. Maybe he'll get developed better. Maybe he'll start playing better. We'll see. So Forbes is like, we are worried about him in DC. Like every week when you turn on the game, we got to watch Jaden Daniels on offense, Emmanuel Forbes on defense. That's how it is in DC right now.
Yeah, because I just want to say this about Forbes. Small guys, I feel like, in my opinion, can play on offense because, you can punt return with them. You can throw them in the slot. You can go deep routes. You can kind of hide them. When you're that small playing defense as a corner, you can't be hidden. You're not hidden. They will exploit you. They will expose you immediately. They will target you almost damn near every single play because you're just not big enough. And just like you said, I totally agree with you. That AJ Brown game broke him. The way he was physical with him and manhandling him all game, I think that got into his head for like the rest of the season. And the tape is out, right? Once some team sees it, they all going to see it, and they're all going to attack and do the same thing to him. And I feel like it's this confidence thing now. And you just can't 155, 160. You ain't tackling in the NFL. They're coming after you every play, every single play. I remember we had when I coached, we had a little guy on our cornerback position, but he was a dog. Like he was really, really small, but he knew angles. He was a little bit thicker. He knew angles, how to tackle. But you best believe at the beginning of every single game, y'all, they started the first play of the game. They went after him. They went after him the first play of the game to see, okay, let's see where he at because he's tiny. Let's go see where he at. Then when they saw he could tackle and make plays, then they started readjusting how the offense is. But the best believe the first play they did, let's go see him because he led them.
You got to test it. And one last thing, sorry to interrupt you, Joe, but like I remember there was the Bears-Commanders Thursday night game. I saw it in person. I have tickets. I was watching the game, but also went back and watched the film. There was a play where it was a run. And what ended up happening was Emmanuel Forbes was on one side of the field, like it was like a trips right or something. So most of the wide receivers was on the other side of the field. So Forbes was isolated. I saw Justin Fields look at it, call an audible, and flip the play that way. And it was a freaking guard running at Emmanuel Forbes. Like, dude, a guard's going to freaking throw him like a juggernaut out of the way. It's going to be an easy run. It was like a 40-yard run because they ran at Emmanuel Forbes. He's a liability out there right now. And I'm worried about him. Hopefully his thing is a ball hawk. He's supposed to be a guy that takes chances and gets interception. But if you're not doing that right now, but you're also a liability in other areas, what good are you right now, right? So that's kind of where we are with Forbes. So hopefully he'll bounce back.
The crazy thing is, I liked him in college. He was actually kind of like physical in college, which is kind of weird because like he's small. He's always been small, but he was kind of physical in college, and it was one of the things that was kind of a knock. He was a little bit too physical because he wasn't that strong, and he would get beat a lot in that physicality. But he is a good player. So I mean, he was a good player. The NFL is a totally different, beast. And I hope he figures it out. I never, we sit here and make jokes, but I never want to see somebody's dream get shattered because of AJ Brown. That's just hurtful. But shout out to everybody in the chat, Bill. We got 200 people in the chat. I do want to say Restream is like screwing up for some reason, and they're not showing the James chat or George's chat, but I am looking at y'all chats. So if you got any questions, like I said, I saw the other question for George. If you got any questions, if you want to ask anything to anybody, just put it in the chat and I'll definitely get to it. Give me a second. I might not catch it early, but and if y'all see in y'all chats that there's questions, feel free to cut me off and tell me to shut the hell up. But yeah, shout out to everybody in here. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, join the family. So I don't have any more questions for George. James, do you have any questions? I know
no,
you.
Sir.
I know you
want. I got one. George said he ain't even gonna play around. I ain't entertaining that, but I ain't letting it go. I'm not letting it go. I heard the rant last year, and I know he your captain, but he said we got to start winning. Maybe he gonna have more belief this year because you got the Jaden Daniels. It might look good. You got the new coach, but daggone, he at the end of his deal. I know there was some disgruntledness with him. Dallas is still looking for interior, even though we traded for a player. I'm still saying, why not? I mean, if Dallas, we got a full safety room. We got a full safety room. We got some players that possibly we could deal. And from what I believe, we're going to have a plethora of picks next year. So we could offer a legitimate picks. Would they listen? Would they listen if Dallas came with a player and let's say a third rounder?
So to frame this, he's asking about Jonathan Allen, by the way, on the chat. I think absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? So if you throw me Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb, maybe something like that.
No, come on, no.
I'm messing around now, but no, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's super happy. Like last year, he was miserable and it was ugly here in DC. Like Rivera, Jack Del Rio. There was drama between Chase Young and Jonathan Allen. Like there was cliques in the locker room because basically John Allen's kind of like that. Like he's at Alabama tough. He's that guy where it's like I do what I'm supposed to do. Like I listen to Nick Saban. I'm focused. Like I don't talk back. And Chase Young's kind of like that Flash. He's like I'm Ohio State. Like I'm gonna go whatever. I'm a freelance. I can do whatever I want. And they basically both have their groups in the locker room that kind of like their own people. But Chase Young is gone now. And I think Jonathan Allen's happy with that. No one said it out loud, but everyone kind of whispers that. So Jonathan Allen's happy about that. I think that's going to be the strength of our team, man. Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Johnny Newton as a defensive tackle, rotating those three. I think it's going to basically prolong Allen's career. And for those of you that don't know, Allen's from Virginia. He basically is from Northern Virginia. He was a Commanders Redskin fan growing up. Unless they totally do him dirty, I think he's going to stay in DC. I don't see him going anywhere.
What about Ridgeway?
Ridgeway, I think he's going to make
the Eagles player, bro. You on? You see,
he's on all three of our teams now.
Bro.
Nah, but I think he's going to stay here too. I think if anybody, you guys can have him. I'll give him away to y'all. Philip Mathis or Fedarian Mathis. You guys even know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know him.
I liked him out of college.
He was a second-round pick out of Alabama, and we took him in the second round maybe 3-4 years ago, and he hasn't done anything. He maybe played 1 or 2 games in this past couple of years. He's been a complete whiff of us in here at DC, so he might spring available. You might get him, but he can't stay healthy, can't play. Might be worth a shot, but I don't know.
Now we'll move to James next and listen to what's going out there in Dallas because I know there's drama out there. But before we do, one last thing I want to throw at you since we're talking about trades, George.
Yeah.
People in the chat are saying that they'll trade Forbes for Bradbury. Would you ever do that? That's trash for trash, basically, right?
Trash for trash, but I'd rather have young trash, right, and cheap trash, right? That's what it's down to, yeah. Because Forbes is still on his rookie contract. He's a second year. He says potentially a 5th-year option if we want him in that way. I think Forbes can be coached up. I'm not sure. So Bradbury's been completely awful. I wanted Brad. It's so funny. Last thing I'll say before we move on. I don't know if you guys, we talked about it before. We were called the Commanthers, Commander and Panthers, but basically when Rivera was here, because he was always grabbing Panthers and putting them on the team. But the one that he didn't get was James Bradbury. He's the one that I wanted. We got Norwell and all these other trash players. I wanted Bradbury, but I guess it sounds like he's washed. I haven't.
No, he's great. He's one of our best.
I don't believe you.
The floor is yours, James. Talk to us, man. What's going on out there in Dallas?
Well, obviously, everybody still knows about the CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott thing. I don't really, we 1 minute we hear it's gonna be this week, then we hear it's gonna be next week, and now we're supposed to hear, this next week is gonna be this. Obviously, we heard about the offer and really the structures, the guarantees, those things are really the kind of the hold up. I don't like it. I don't like it. I just feel like when you got a star receiver, and I definitely understand why he's doing it. I definitely understand. So I ain't mad at Lamb for what he's doing because from what I heard, he has no guarantees right now. His guarantees are up. He's getting paid are up. So, you know, they could still go this whole year and then still franchise him next year for real. They could still franchise tag him next year and then still try to figure out a deal. So I just feel like that's not good for the team. The longer you're away, I just feel like when you come in, you don't have the year that you were going to have. Injuries could play a part now. And then just the lingering thing that's over Dak Prescott, I feel like it's still a distraction right now. So from that point, I don't like that, and I don't like how they're dealing with it. Things should already still been done, and I feel like it's just a distraction, and it's going to come up later on. Just my opinion. Now, the good side of it, our game yesterday, the preseason game. I saw some good positives in that preseason game. You know, we just talked about it earlier. Trey Lance, he's been the talk of Dallas since last year, since Dallas picked him up in the trade for the 4th round. Didn't see the field all last year, and I thought he should see it at least a couple times, especially with Dallas had like 5 blowout wins, and I thought he should at least get on the field. But we all knew this year was going to be the Trey Lance watch, right? Everybody was going to be all eyes on him like Tupac. So, you know, everybody was, you know, training camp. Oh, Trey throwing these interceptions. He can't throw with this. He can't throw with that. And I was like, hey, man, I don't want this dude just to fail. You feel what I'm saying? Not clown the Joneses just for fun of it, but I don't want the dude to fail because I feel like he's a better option than Cooper Rush. Obviously, we saw the first game. There was an uneven performance, but he got better as the game went on. This game right here, we had a debate last week of who should be the number 2 quarterback, Cooper Rush or Trey Lance. And I said Trey Lance. He offers more than Cooper Rush. I don't care if Cooper Rush won games a couple of years ago. That defense played lights out. The running game was good. And then you played Washington Commanders and you played the Giants. And during that period of time, and those aren't good teams. See, like, oh, Cooper Rush, right? Cooper Rush is what he is. You don't need to see nothing from no Cooper Rush. We already know he is. But we need to see what Trey Lance was, right? And in that game yesterday, he's to continue to show what he can do, right? Nobody's jumping out there like, oh, Trey Lance. Nobody's doing that. But when you look at the improvement from game 1 to game 2, he gives you that running option. Again, he was the leading rusher on the team. He got out of plays. They were able to run some RPOs from him, get him outside. And, man, Trey Lance ain't no little dude, first of all. No, he ain't a little guy. He runs with power, and he can really run the ball. Like he's a threat. So when he's coming back there, you have to watch because he can go. Like if things ain't up, he can go. Now, does he still need to get together as far as his anticipation? You could still see he was kind of struggling with that. But guess what? He took the team like 97 yards for a touchdown. That was very impressive. We had a rookie from a very small school like Southeast Missouri State, Flournoy. He came in, had 5 catches on that drive, and the fade where he jabbed that cornerback in and caught the fade touchdown was beautiful. And then Trey took the team down the field again and then ran in for the touchdown. That's what you want to see. Number one, because Minnesota lost J.J. McCarthy, right? And the talk was, Trey Lance was already being talked about as a trade piece before they picked up J.J. McCarthy. Now he's out. So for me, we want Trey Lance to do good. Because at the end of the day, the better he is, it helps the team. If you keep him, the better he's a piece. He can come back and flip a pick. So that was very good to me.
I got a question for both y'all. Whenever
also, go ahead.
So
go ahead.
So real quick with Trey Lance, tell me if I'm wrong. I'm not being a hater, but I was looking on the feed on Twitter. They're saying he was inaccurate yesterday. Is that true, or am I off about that?
No, he was like 15 for 21. The thing that they were saying about Trey Lance is that he doesn't throw with anticipation. Sometimes he still holds the ball. Okay, and I think that's his biggest issue, that he holds the ball and he tries to throw it right at the spot until anticipating where the receiver is going and throw it then and throw anticipation throws. And then he throws those 100-mile fast outs. So if the receiver's doing a 5-yard break on the out and he's throwing it like super hard. Okay. Yeah, the touch. But like I said, he calmed down. I felt like they gave him a good game plan. And when they gave him a good game plan, it was able to calm him down. I think he was like 15. I'm pulling up the stats right now. Yesterday, he was 15 to 23 for 151 and a touchdown, and he ran for 1. That ain't bad.
Mm-hmm. No. I will say, I think that when Trey Lance first came out, there's a little connection there because that was kind of when Carson Wentz was kind of like what's going to happen with you know, we were in that mode when Trey Lance's draft was up. So I remember doing a whole video about Trey Lance comparatively to Carson Wentz. And Trey Lance was a better prospect, in my opinion, coming out of college than Carson Wentz was. The thing with Trey Lance is that he's very raw, very raw. He only played, I think, 16 games in college, and it was at North Dakota at that. So there's talent there. Like you said, he's got the size, he's got the speed. He has an incredible arm, but he just doesn't know how to fully use it. So it'll be interesting if you guys actually took the time, because I think that was the problem with San Fran. They were so focused on what's going on with Jimmy G, what's going on with Brock, what's going on with these guys, that they kind of forgot that you got Trey Lance because he got hurt. So it was like, if they would have actually took the time to develop him, it would have been interesting to see what they would have had. So if you guys took that year last year and just said, all right, we're going to work on you as a quarterback. Don't worry about games. Don't worry about film. Worry about your, you know, just fundamentals. He could be a really good player. So I like Trey Lance. I don't like him now because obviously he's got the worst, you know, uniform in NFL on. But you guys got a player. I did think that he was really good coming out of college. So he didn't throw an interception in any of his games. I mean, I don't care where you do that. That's pretty darn impressive. So, yeah, I mean, that's all the good stuff I can say about him. That's all I got.
To jump on. So go ahead, James.
No, I was just going to say, people are trying to dog him and this and that, but I mean, I'm going to go ahead and agree with you, Joe. Like, here's the thing. The NFL doesn't have a developmental league like the NBA or a developmental league like baseball. They don't have obviously they have the UFL, right? But it's not really where you can just drop them down during the year and then they can play and then you can just call them back up. You know what I mean? So it's really hard for you to get development. And then people need to understand when he came out of college, he got hurt in San Francisco. He got hurt immediately in San Francisco. And then he wasn't a pick of Kyle Shanahan. That's not a pick that Kyle Shanahan wanted. And then once he saw Brock Purdy, he was already on that train. And that's one of the reasons why he got Trey Lance out of there, because he didn't want nobody. He didn't want that pick of him being around him to throw Brock Purdy off. Now Trey Lance is in a situation where he can actually grow. And like I said, we got Cooper Rush, and I ain't tripping. Like, people are like, oh, it feel better if Cooper Rush win games. Man, Cooper Rush helped win those games a couple of years ago. That don't mean Cooper Rush going to come in right now and win games. He can't run the ball. He doesn't have an arm. And teams are going to understand and know that. So who can be a dual threat, who can really challenge a defense, and not somebody who, when this guy comes in, we already know what he is. We already going to shut that down because he can't throw. Let's press these receivers. Let's stack this line because we know he can't do anything else, right? Trey Lance gives you a better option than that, and I feel like they need to continue to let that grow. And in his last preseason game, he need to play all the damn snaps, for real. But I want to say a few other things about my team. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you definitely got to figure out what you have in Trey Lance, right? You have to kind of, fulfill that whole experiment, kind of see how it all plays out and see how you feel about him. To be honest with you, I wasn't a fan of Trey Lance coming out. That's not me being a hater. I just felt like he was inaccurate coming out of North Dakota. And I think we talked about it. He's raw, right? Him and Anthony Richardson were the kind of same profiles coming out of the college draft class. I don't know if you guys know this. I was doing some research and reading about this. But when Trey Lance was getting recruited by the 49ers, that was during the COVID era. So they basically couldn't necessarily interview him. They couldn't necessarily see him up close. They couldn't necessarily watch that many practices. It was very limited. And there was only one time where the 49ers saw Trey Lance in person, and it was a raining game. And I think he had like one touchdown, a bunch of inaccurate passes. And they kind of were like, it was like confirmation bias. Like, oh, he's still got the talent, but it's a rainy game, and they kind of went that direction with him and still drafted him. So I kind of feel like Trey Lance is kind of a really raw product. I didn't think he could build around him, but maybe if you develop him in Dallas, maybe he can pan out. One last quick question, Joe. You can keep it real quick as for you. We talked about J.J. McCarthy and backup quarterbacks in Minnesota. Maybe Trey Lance, Cooper Rush. we have a backup quarterback, dude. Marcus Mariota is trash, right? Am I right? Am I wrong about that? He's trash.
No, you're not wrong. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong.
Okay. Just clarify. Okay, he's real trash. Okay, cool. We have him over here in DC. I'm like, why is he even on our roster? He's really bad.
Yeah, he's not good.
Okay, really bad. Okay, just checking. Okay, you can go back to your program. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah. Last year we wanted Tanner. I wanted Tanner McKee to start over him as far as a backup goes. So, yeah.
Okay, because we have Jeff Driscoll from the 49ers. He's our third quarterback. We have Hartman too from Notre Dame. But basically, Driscoll cooks whenever he's on the field. Mariota came in last week, was absolutely horrible. Looked really bad in training camp. And then he has like a groin injury now. So I'm like, why is he even on the team? It's all because of Brian Johnson. I think they have a connection there. That's why they're whatever.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. So
it's funny because the 803 Hitman got it perfectly right. He said, Castro, you heard about all this QB talk. I am. It feels good. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, sorry, Jay. Sorry to interrupt. I just dipstick on that.
No, you're good. I think there's another thing I was talking about. I brought it up yesterday when we were talking about the 50. I did a 53-man roster. And on the running back, I put Ezekiel Elliott and I put Rico Dowdell. Rico Dowdell still needs to play more because he does have explosiveness, but I was already like away from the Zeke train. When he came back, I wasn't jumping up and down about no Ezekiel Elliott, get him inside the 20 or 10-yard line, score touchdowns. And then I was like, man, Roy, why do you have Royce Freeman? What's he really doing? But you know what? When you watch games change things, right? Games change minds. Games change things. And I watched Royce Freeman yesterday, and that dude was running with power. He's a load. He was running with power. He was running with guys over. And then when I saw Rico Dowdell the first game, I'm like, he still got some juice. Now, I ain't trying to just go crazy, but I was like, Deuce Vaughn ain't making it. Too little, too small. They don't know what to do with him. That was just a failed experiment. He played in that Raiders game. That little motherfucker was running up the middle. I mean, he's not afraid that he did it in college, so it's not like he didn't do it. I mean, he's got them good, quick jitterbug moves. I'm like, maybe if you find a role for him, I want him. Don't just have him on the bench sitting there, and what's the point? Use him as some gadget plays, get him in there. And so for me, I ain't tripping on Zeke got to be on the team. I already said to Cowboys nation, Zeke don't got to be on the team with me. Rico Dowdell, you could go with a Royce Freeman. He ran with power as long as he stayed healthy. You got a Deuce Vaughn who you could mix and match and do other things with. So I ain't on this Ezekiel Elliott thing still. Also, we had some receivers step up. Our fifth round draft pick, fourth round, I think. I remember I told you about Flournoy. He had like 5 receptions for the touchdown. CeeDee Lamb being out has helped the other guys, right? Jalen Tolbert has continued to step up. Jalen Brooks. So we feel good about that. But I think the biggest thing right now, and I'll give it to y'all here in a sec, is that we made a trade this week. We got Jordan Phillips from the Giants. I wanted Jordan Phillips when he was at Buffalo in 2019. He had like 9.5 sacks that year, had like 40-some tackles, the best season he had not one in them. Dallas always does a circle back. He played in that game, and he was taking on double teams. He was getting a good push in the pocket. Dallas needs defensive tackle help. 6'6", 340 pounds. Dallas needs that. They also went out and got Carl Lawson from the Jets. Now, he's been an injury guy, but he's been very productive. Marshawn Nealon, our second-round pick from Western Michigan, I believe. He looked good. Now, we've been all liking him, but I said, I don't know if he could be sack guy because he only had like 4.5 sacks. He reminds me more of a D-Law where he's going to get you a lot of pressure. He's going to be stout in the run game. But he looked like he was getting in that backfield a little bit, and he's looking good. He's looking real stout. Maris Lefalo, Joe, you know how me and him talked about him. We hyped about him. I'm going to tell you that right now. That man come in like a heat-seeking missile. And special teams, he was playing that linebacker position like you wanted him to. Very aggressive. I love this smart guy. Really loved the way he played. They traded for Andrew Booth. He was real scrappy in that game yesterday. I really like what he was bringing to the table. We also had Carson. And I'm going to just say this one more time. Julius Woods, my dog, Julius Woods from Columbus, Ohio, baby, needs to make that squad. They had him in the game yesterday, put him in there for a safety blitz, put that man in the backfield, 3-yard loss. That man is physical. We got a plethora of safeties. Mukama can play some corner. dog, don't cut my dog, okay, because of the numbers. Somebody gonna snatch him up instantly. Do y'all hear me? Don't cut this man. He is somebody you want for the future. Don't try to play that game that you played with John Ridgeway, trying to cut him and then think he gonna go fly through waivers and the Washington Commanders watch every damn player we go, oh, they cut him, let's take him. Don't do that, because somebody gonna scoop him. Julius Wood, the team, he can be something great for this team down the line. I'm trying to tell y'all. But defense felt better today. Last night.
Let me throw a question out there real quick. I think all of us should do this. We should all share the concern of the team. There's a lot of glowing praise from the Cowboys.
Yeah, we all Kool-Aid right now. It's all good.
I just want to hear, what's one concern you still have in Dallas? It sounds like the pass rush. If you guys are getting Jordan Phillips and Carl Lawson, that means you're not really generating that much right now. Is that true? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, that's definitely true. That was our biggest problem. Defensive tackle help is because Mozzie had an allergic reaction in practice. I don't know what that's about. So he missed the game. You know, that's still frustrating. I'm still not, sold fully on Mozzie. I'm just
he was
not
a run
full.
stopper in Michigan. He was in Michigan, right? I thought he was like a run stopper.
Yeah, they said all that, but we need to see. I'm just not really sold on him. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. From my opinion, just from me, my perspective, my opinion, I don't feel like everybody has to come in the league and love football. Okay, you don't have to come in and love football. I get it. You love the money. I get it. Mm-hmm. But it just feels like I just feel like he's like, I gotta play. This is what I gotta do. I'm big. I'm strong. I gotta do this. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't know where the mentals at are still. In my opinion, I'm still leery of that. So getting Jordan Phillips is better. But even Stephen Jones said they're still going to be looking along the defensive line. I still feel like they do. Carl Lawson, I think, is a good addition, but he does get hurt a lot. But he's not going to be called to be a savior here because you got Michael Parsons and D. Law. But still, you guys got Dorrance Armstrong Jr. Y'all got Fowler too, right? Did y'all get Fowler too?
Fowler and Colin Farrell. We have all three.
All right. So y'all got all those guys. That's left 13 sacks from last year. Those guys are really great in that part-time work. I still feel like I'm still looking at that edge in that middle, still looking at, and let's make sure that's all the way sold, because Dallas's problem notoriously is the third and fourth quarters where you wear down, you don't have those guys, and then the running game really blows up and busts open. So for me, I think you got those couple guys, and we're going to see. I think that's a better additions to help. Does it put you over the hump? I don't think so. I think you still need to look, after these cuts, and maybe you can find somebody, or maybe find a trade partner. Because I said you got picks for next year that you can wheel and deal. So don't sit on your hands and say, oh, we're done. Continue to look, because you still need defensive help. But I'm telling you that Mike Zimmer, I'm not trying to drink Kool-Aid on him. I'm just telling you what I see. I'm not drinking Kool-Aid on this team or nothing like that. I'm just telling you additions that needed to be made were made, so you can get happy about that. But I don't feel like this took Dallas over the hump, but I feel like it's made the team better. But I feel like Mike Zimmer is the best addition that we had in the offseason, if you ask me.
Randy Gregory sprung loose this morning. Do you care about him at all? He's washed, right?
He might be.
George is sneakily petty.
I ain't mad at that. Because Randy Gregory already had mental health issues, and I'm not trying to throw him under the bus for that.
He hasn't shown up for camp yet.
It feels like those things are coming again, so you kind of don't want to deal with that now. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to deal with no controversy and no drama with that. So let's just stay away from him.
Yeah, it makes sense.
My question is what, and pardon my, terms, I guess, but what can save this team? Because I really don't, in my opinion, unless you guys win a Super Bowl or something crazy happens, this team is going to get into a rebuild. Maybe if not, I mean, I understand you still are most likely going to have CD, obviously still most likely going to have Parsons. But what team in the league is built around a linebacker and a wide receiver? You need a quarterback. Like I don't see, because I don't see you guys being bad enough to get a quarterback in the draft. I don't see Trey Lance taking that step quick enough. Like, what can realistically save your team? Like, I feel like this year is kind of it no matter what. This is Dak's last, kind of shot. And I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to be, I don't even know the word. I'm not trying to be negative or a hater or anything like that. But it just feels like there's so many questions that cannot get answered. You know what I'm saying? So, like, in your opinion, what's the best case scenario for every play? Does that make sense?
Best case scenario is that they have to go to a championship game this year. That's the best case scenario, because that's the only way you're going to keep the camaraderie with Mike McCarthy, because he's on the 1-year deal. Mike Zimmer's on the 1-year deal. Dak is 1 year from. I mean, this is all right now, and we've all talked about it. None of that is changing. I still, in my opinion, it's still feeling like lame duck, no matter what you went and trade for and this and that, because I still feel like if you love Mike McCarthy like that and he's done what he's done, extend him for a couple more years and keep everything together. Because right now you're putting all that eggs like, well, if it don't work this year, it could be blowed up. Why wouldn't it be? You get what I'm saying? So I just feel like they just need to get that stuff done. But, they keep on saying they're going to get Dak done. They keep on saying they're going to, get CD done. But you know what? I believe it when I see it. And when you tell somebody you love them, you go ahead and do things to show you love them. And I ain't seeing that love right now. So I hear a lot of people saying they love, but I ain't seeing the things behind it to show the love. So until those things behind it to really love, I'm going to believe there ain't no love. And I'm going to believe this still is a lame duck type season unless you really extend people. Because you can extend Mike McCarthy right now. There ain't no things on no coaches, dog. You can do that. And I feel like, why not? I mean, let him continue to show that he can. Once again, I'm going to say you gave Jason Garrett damn near 10 years, and we already knew what the hell he was. He didn't do nothing what Mike McCarthy did, but now you got Mike McCarthy back against the wall, and he did 100% better than Jason Garrett. So that's just still the goofiness from the front office. So until that goofiness stops, there's always going to be those type of things that go on here, and just, whatever.
And my last question is actually, I want to know your opinion. Now, you might have heard it too, but Mike Lombardi was talking about the Cowboys and talking about, them signing Dak and CD. And he basically agreed with Jerry that that it shouldn't be something that you're having to run to these guys and get it done. And it's a priority because of the way last year ended. How do you feel about that? Because that was an interesting take. I don't know if I 100% agree with it. Talent is talent, but how do you feel about that? Do you think that since last year didn't end how you want to, there should be a little bit of trepidation from this front office? Or is it just, hey, you know who they are, go sign your guys?
You know who they are, go sign your guys, for real. If you keep on telling me that y'all love Dak Prescott and he's the guy, we just love Dak Prescott, we just this, and this, then if you, like I said, if you love him, then show it. The Green Bay game shouldn't be indicative on Dak Prescott because the whole team played like crap. The coaching played like crap. So you can't put that all on Dak Prescott now. And Joe, I'm critical of Dak. You know that. I'm be critical of Dak. But bro, we can't do that and say that was just Dak's fault in that Green Bay game. That's BS. That's just not true. So you can't put that on the indicative of well, because that Green Bay game, that's going to give us pause. Nope, that's just going to tell me, like I've been telling you, Joe, they haven't really truly believed in him. So that is one more excuse for them to say, and we just it. If you use things like that as an excuse for why you, because if your guy is your guy, you're okay. That was an anomaly. Because it's not like Dak played terrible in 2016, 2018, 2021. We knew that was the team. 2022, we knew. I said that was his year to be the Dak year, and he kind of dropped the ball in that 2022 season. That whole game last year was the whole damn team. So my thing is, if you believe in your guy, you make it happen. If you don't believe in him, go somewhere. The back and forth game.
They should, as a Commanders fan, they should sign him. And Dak's a good quarterback. I think he's solid. They just sign him. They just sign CeeDee Lamb too. He's a good player as well. I don't know why they're half stepping over there in Dallas for real. I think he's a good player.
I feel like if you don't sign Dak, you might not want to sign CD. You might want to trade him. To be honest with you, it's not even hating on CD.
They're talking about this. I didn't mean to cut you off, Joe, but from talk to my guy Mike White, and people be hating, but he was telling me, and I believe it, that it's like it's not one without the other. It's like they both are like, CD's like, okay, if I sign this deal, I want to know Dak's going to be here because I don't know who's going to be throwing me these passes. I ain't want no Cooper Rush pass, and we still know Trey Lance, so I ain't signing all this money here. I want to win. I want to win championships, and I want to know my guys here if I sign all this money. And Dak is, I want to be here, but if y'all want to play games, I can go somewhere else and somebody's gonna pay me. That's a fact. Yeah. I can go if Kirk Cousins, like Mimi Kim said, if Kirk Cousins, 36 years old, with a tore Achilles knee, tore up knee, can get 40 mil and get that guaranteed again, you gonna tell me Dak Prescott can't go on that open market and get paid? Come on, y'all.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I have no more questions. I just
want to say Kirk Cousins, Hall of Famer finesser, dude. How much money?
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer, dude. Gold jacket finesse, dude. He's crushing that contract.
He's the contract king. If you ever want to learn how to work a contract as a quarterback, you better follow Kirk Cousins.
He needs to become an agent. He needs to become an agent after his career because that's ridiculous. He needs to talk to YouTube for me. You know what I'm saying? Work out my pay and everything. I like that. I can't even hate on him.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I can't even hate on him. I do want to. I want to pose this question to everybody because I actually like this question. And now I'm not going to be able to find it. Who asked it? Here we go. 803 Hitman asked this. What's one thing that your team is going to regret not doing this off season? I'll start with George and then James, and then I'll do my whole Eagles spiel after that.
I'll do two of them. So offensive line, not addressing the offensive line. Like I think we got Brennan Coleman. He's a third-round tackle out of guard tackle out of Texas Christian. He might be our starting left tackle as the year starts. I think our offensive line might be a liability. It might be an issue, and when you have a rookie quarterback, you need an offensive line to protect him. So I am kind of worried that we aren't deep enough at the offensive line position. So that's one. And then two, pursuing Brandon Ayuk more heavily, man. I think we have Terry McLaurin. Ayuk is openly campaigning to come to DC. He wants to play with Jaden Daniels. They're friends from college. Imagine having Brandon Ayuk, Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson in the slot as a rookie quarterback walking out. That would have been fantastic. I think, it would have been worth it. But I also think that Brandon Ayuk, in my opinion, I think he wants to stay in San Francisco, but kind of using the market, kind of using the media to kind of, just kind of spark things up a little bit. So I see that as an issue. So I would love it if we had another wide receiver to complement McLaurin, and our offensive line I'm worried about a little bit.
For me, I'm going to say not signing your top guys. If you said you love them, you should have already signed them guys, got them out the way, and then got a little bit more aggressive in free agency. Wait until the last minute. I think that's our biggest problem. They always wait. And then that's our biggest problem to me. The one biggest regret is they sit on their hands. They wait. And that waiting to me does not help the team in the long run. Get guys out the way, especially if this is our guys. Let's get them out the way so we can do other things and make this team better. And I feel like we know what we are in free agency. We know that. But you can really still make things happen in certain kind of ways within free agency if you take care of these guys and get them out the way. You can do things. And I think my biggest regret is that they sit on their hands and they wait. And that's the biggest problem in Dallas.
I respect that. Yeah, I see a lot of different people. I know some people would say, not signing Hassan Reddick. I could talk about players that they didn't sign or, positions maybe they could have filled up. But I'm going to be honest with you, and this is from a fan perspective, has nothing to do with the on-field product. It's not being more clear about what Nick Sirianni is. I think that's our biggest flaw right now is we leave way too open. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of conversation and there's a lot of, hey, if we don't do good, Nick Sirianni gone. If we don't do this, Nick Sirianni gone. And when you have that much tension, and this kind of goes on Jalen Hurts as well, but when you have that much tension and you have that much question about the leader of your group, that's gonna, kick in at some point. When you have a bad game or you're having a bad couple weeks in a row, that question is going to start seeping and it's going to become a problem. So I'm a little bit nervous about that because you have to be behind your leader 100%. And right now, I don't know.
Right.
I think Joe's microphone. You're not back.
Okay,
You're not back on yet.
there you
Joe.
go. Hey, are you good, Joe?
Mm-mm. No, I can't hear you.
See them Eagles, yeah. See the Eagles organization heard you, dog, and they don't want you doing all that talking. They got to get your mic right.
Nothing good to say. You know what I'm saying? That's what's going on. So while we're waiting on Joe, James, are you confident with the Cowboys moving forward? Like, what are your thoughts on the team this year?
I mean, like I said, I still feel like we have the talent to win 10 games, at least 10 games. I mean, we're talented enough to win at least 10 games this season, but I'm still not going to go away from lame duck. You got your coach in limbo, contracts are in limbo. I just feel like that's going to be a deterrent later on. Maybe it doesn't show up right now, but I feel like that's a deterrent. There you go. There you go. Is that you?
Restream. It has 2 different places to mute you. So it muted me like in the back end. This is so weird. Anyways, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that was Philly. They were muting you on that Nick Sirianni thing.
They heard me talking that talk. They heard me talking that talk. But where was I? What was I talking about?
You was talking about Sirianni.
And all that stuff.
Yeah. I don't know who my leader is. I don't know if it's Jalen. I don't know if it's Nick Sirianni. So at the end of the day, you guys, they have to figure this out. They got to be a little bit more upfront and a little bit more transparent, in my opinion, when it comes to that, because you don't want to have question marks about that. But there's a lot of, there's a lot of things that people could say. I could have brought up safety or whatever. There's so many different things. But
I'm agree with you with Sirianni. I'm agree with you with Sirianni. And Drew don't never want to. Drew, you just don't believe in nothing. But guess what? That Sirianni thing is real. No matter what anybody says, that's Nick Sirianni thing is real. And to me, you talk about Mike McCarthy and our coaching, but I told you this is Nick Sirianni's year. If Nick Sirianni with this team doesn't do anything with this team, I don't see why y'all keep Sirianni.
I agree with James. I think he's on the hot seat for real.
He's on the hot seat
last year. He's on the hot seat.
Yeah, he's on the hot seat. Nobody's talking about it. He's on a major hot seat.
Yeah, I can't say yes or no. I can't. That's my thing. Be more transparent. If that's your guy, no matter what, you know what I'm saying, and you just like that CEO type of coach, make that apparent. You know what I mean? But like, look at what Frederick said, how he's running things. People like, we don't know who's the, and that's always kind of been the issue with Eagles. It's always kind of a mess in that sense. But at the end of the day, I don't think it'll kill us. It's just if we start doing bad, that's going to come back and rear its ugly head. But as far as preseason, man, the Eagles have been in a pretty good position. I mean, we obviously don't play any of our starters when it comes to the preseason games, but we've done the joint practices. It looks like our offense is just clicking. It seems like it's really, all Jalen Hurts has been on an absolute tear. I know that people, make fun of it, but he hasn't thrown an interception all camp yet, which is nice. And just the way that he's handling himself. Obviously, I'm not at the camp, but from everything I'm hearing, everything I'm reading, everything I'm being told from people that are there, he's just handling himself properly. He's staying in the pocket longer. He's, reading the field better. He's being more of a quarterback. And I think that that's something that we were all kind of hoping he would take even another step in as a quarterback. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see that. Saquon seems like a perfect fit. They're all, getting along, which I think that we all kind of knew would happen, but that's beautiful to see. Devontae Smith, I feel like is taking a crazy step this offseason. I mean, everybody knows who AJ Brown is. Everybody knows who Devontae Smith is, but I think Devontae Smith could really, really make a great argument for that 1A, 1B thing we were talking about last couple years. That boy is something different. He's a very, very good wide receiver, and I think he could be a top 10 guy this year. I truly do. So he's taking a big, big step. This offensive line with the addition of Becton is interesting. Becton did get a little banged up today at practice, but he seems to be okay. He seems to be okay. He seems to be okay. Landon Dickerson got a little banged up too. They're both okay, it seems. So
are you worried about your offensive line, Joe? Let me ask you this. I didn't mean to cut you off. Are you worried about your off? Because we already talked about Beckman. We was going back and forth on Twitter, and I said Beckman, he's gonna get hurt, and he already got some nicks and necks. That's been his MO is injuries.
Do you think Beckman this a free agent? I forget now. Mekhi Becton, right? That's it.
Yeah, Mekhi Becton.
Yeah. So how'd you guys get him? I forget. You guys drafted him? Or was he?
I think we drafted. No, he wasn't a draft. I think he was a
He was
free
with the
agent. If I'm not
Jets. Yeah, he
mistaken.
was with the
That's what I
Jets.
thought.
Yeah,
He got Jets, right? Okay. Okay.
he got cut from the Jets, if I'm not mistaken. So
Okay.
Because of injuries.
Okay.
yeah, but I mean, we moved him to guard, so he was obviously a tackle over there. We moved him to guard. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. I do think that Tyler Steen can play. He's not great. He had a bad preseason game. I will be serious, but am I worried about them? I'm worried about injury. I think every year I'm worried about injury. You know, that you lose a guy like Lane Johnson, there's no real replacing that. You know,
Right.
but I think that if they're healthy, we're fine. I truly do believe that. So I'm worried as far as health goes, but other than that, I'm all right. I think our backups are decent too, so we can get by a couple games. But the only person that if we lose him, I think that our offensive line is totally different is Lane Johnson. I think that's the only guy that really he's kind of, especially now losing Jason Kelsey. I think he's kind of the main guy on that offensive line. So
stability, yeah.
Other than that, I'm not too worried. It's injury. That's really and just like 63, so you can't really do much about injury. So,
well, I'll tell you
we'll
what.
see. But
I'll tell you this: I'm already going to make this notion right now. The best offensive line in this NFC East will be the Dallas Cowboys.
We'll see.
I can't say anything. I think our offensive line to be bad. So I can't.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think if we stay healthy, I think we'll be disgusting.
I think nope. I don't think that because number one, have y'all seen Tyler Guyton out there?
Have you? We got we could go player for player. Our
we can go for let's go play
and
for player.
And they're proven. The only place I'll give you is guard. Is one guard side. That's it. Our left we got Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata, both top 10 offensive linemen tackles in the league. We have Landon Dickerson, who you can make a conversation about top 10 in the league.
Watch these two. Landon Dickerson be struggling though. We know what he
does not.
Yes, he does. He struggled last year. Yes, he did. You was trying to say he was better than Tyler Smith. Tyler Smith better than him.
No, he's not. I think it'll be
You're
close.
Crazy.
I would give you
Tyler
a tie.
Smith is better than you're crazy. Tyler Smith is better than him. Zach Martin
and
them two rookies. I'm gonna just tell you right now. Cooper Beebe and Tyler Guyton. Yes, you just watch.
I like Cooper. I like Cooper.
Watch. You just watch.
We're gonna be there too. I like Guyton.
Guyton's a dog, and he nasty. Guyton ain't all right. Guyton is the dog, and he nasty, and he got the nasty streak too. 6'7". What this?
He awkward. I've seen him get
he ain't no awkward.
I've seen the man get thrown around. He has bro, he got 3 left feet. Ain't no way Guyton better than anybody on my offensive line. I'm sorry. Okay. He aight though. We'll
see. He's gonna be better than I.
Honest assessment, I think the Eagles got a better offensive line. For me, walking into the season, the Eagles got a better offensive line.
I said will be. I didn't say now. I said will be.
Maybe. We'll definitely have to revisit that at the end of the year.
That's a good call. Good conversation.
But that's probably the good. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like our offensive side of the ball is probably the good right now. Defensively, it's been up and down. I will say that because against the Patriots, but it is the Patriots. I will say that against the Patriots in the joint practice where we had our starters in, we had like 12 sacks on those guys. Like we were just demolishing them, but it was the Patriots. But against our offense, our defense has not been that good. Our practice today was probably the first time, and people can tell me if I'm wrong, was probably the first time that our defense was better than our offense. Like the defense actually made some plays this game or this practice. Jalen Hurts wasn't 100%, this practice. It was definitely a win for the defense. So it's weird because we talked about it last time. Usually you're used to the defense being a little bit more ahead of the offense, but it seems backwards this year. And even with, I said earlier, it's nice to see the defense kind of communicating, knowing their assignments a little bit better, but they're still not tackling. We're in the position, but we're not making the plays. I still don't know who our linebackers are going to be. I still don't know what we're going to be doing at safety. There's still a lot of questions on this defensive side of the ball. I don't know if I'm 100% sold on our defensive line. So I'm going to be real with you. Our offense, we're gonna have to figure it out. Our defense, excuse me, we're gonna have to figure it out. We're definitely gonna have to figure it out.
So your defense is the bigger concern of the two, right? Your offense, you're pretty confident. Defense, you're concerned about. Okay.
But I will say our defense is young. Our defense has a lot more room to grow. They have a lot more. They have more ceiling, right? Like our offense, we kind of know what they are. Our offense is our offense. We have dogs. We got a bunch of all-pro players, all-star players, but we know what they are. We know what to expect from them, or at least what we should expect. Defensively, I don't want to sit here and say they're going to be absolutely garbage, but I'm definitely not confident to say that they're going to be good. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of one of those things. Once we start seeing some real bullets flying, then we'll see what happens. But even Dean, like Shine is talking about, Nakobe Dean having a good day today at practice. He's been up and down. I've seen that he's having struggles against coverage, and then the next day I see that he's having a great day at practice. So it's really weird. And I think we all came into this season knowing that our defense would probably be the point of, conversation or contention, whatever you want to say. I'm a little nervous. I'm gonna be real with you. This offense is gonna have to score like 35 a game. I ain't gonna lie to you. So we'll see what happens. But I do think that the defense has an opportunity to be good. I think that it's way better coached than it's been in the past couple of years. I mean, outside of that Super Bowl run, even in that Super Bowl run, our defense wasn't that great. They sacked the quarterback a lot, but they gave up a lot of passing yards, and they made big plays, but they weren't a consistently great defense. You know what I mean? So even when you look at when we won the Super Bowl, our defense wasn't all that great. Realistically, none of those cornerbacks are still on this team. So, I mean, is it a team that we could win a Super Bowl with? I've seen worse. I will say that. But I got to see what they're going to be. I can't 100% say that they're, great or bad or whatever you want to say. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with the defense. And like I said, the offense I'm excited about. A lot of these young guys, Jeremiah Trotter, I was kind of pessimistic about what Jeremiah Trotter would do, but he's impressed me the most, if I'm being honest, defensively. He's been going crazy. Quinyon, he's been doing really, really well. He's been taking on matchups against A.J. Brown. He's been taking on matchups against Devontae Smith. So it really, luckily, and I'm not trying to, talk junk about Forbes, but luckily we have guys on our team that can kind of demolish your confidence right off the gate, so it doesn't happen in a game. So I think that really is helping these young players. And Cooper is injured. He just got back. So, it's going to be nice to see what he can be able to do. But the defense is getting tested by one of the better, if not, top five. I think our offense has the potential to be a top 5 offense in the league, at least scoring wise, yards wise. So they're getting tested early. So I don't know if I should be worried that my defense can't keep up with my offense, or be excited that my offense is just outpacing, a defense that could be good. So I know it's a long story short. I don't know what to worry about with this defense. But if y'all got any questions, let me know. And shout out to everybody in the chat, man. We got 350 people in the chat.
Nice. Y'all woke up and got their coffee. They woke up and got their coffee. They got their coffee. They got that coffee. I love that coffee. Only question I got is, I'm gonna say I think your offense will be good. I would definitely say that. I am still wondering how that Saquon Barkley thing is going to work. I still am looking how that dynamic is really going to work, and I'm still going to keep my eyes on Jalen Hurts, Kellen Moore relationship, the whole coaching, all of that. I'm still looking at that dynamic. I still need to see how that works. We haven't seen it. We've seen the preseason, but we haven't seen them together, really do the things. And, we've been hearing no interceptions at training camp. I'll be looking at that. But I am going to be interested to see how that Jalen Hurts, Kellen Moore dynamic really works. Kellen Moore was not a bad coordinator. People dogged him over here. We didn't like certain of the things he did, but you can't sit there and say that the offense wasn't explosive. They had top 5 offenses the whole time he was there, damn near in Dallas. So you can't disregard that. So I'm just going to see how that really dynamic works. And I'm going to tend to agree with you that there are a lot of questions. Even though you have talent on that defensive side of the ball, there are a lot of questions there. And I'm not Vic Fangio. I think he's a little overrated, in my opinion. I think he's a little overhyped right now.
Yeah.
I think he's a little overrated. I think he's a little overhyped, and I think things could blow up if the defense doesn't do good under him.
Yeah, I will say the Eagles, me included, have complained about this defensive scheme for like the past 3 years. Even when it wasn't, Sean Desai, we've ran a similar Vic Fangio type scheme, for a while now. It's not something that's going to be totally new or foreign to this team. So I've always said, and this is me being a little pessimistic, but if you don't like peanut butter and jelly, does it really matter that Gordon Ramsay's now making you a peanut butter and jelly? Just because the guy that, invented the defense is now coaching the defense, we didn't like the defense. So, I mean, we'll see. You know what I'm saying? That is me being pessimistic. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you don't like steak, it doesn't really matter who's cooking it for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be steak. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm a little bit worried because I don't like the, playing back and only letting the four front guys rush. We've been waiting for the next coming of Jimmy Johnson since, God rest his soul, he's passed away. That's what as fans, we've been waiting for that for so long. And it doesn't feel like the front office wants that or the Eagles want that. They want somebody I don't know what they want. I'm going to be real with you. At this point, I really don't know what they want. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping for the best. I will say because I know that is something that a lot of people talk about with Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts. Obviously, I'm not in their mind. I can't tell you exactly what they're talking about or anything like that. But it seems like it's going decent. I know like the big storyline was when Jalen Hurts was talking about how the offense is 100% different and nothing's, the same and it's all new to him. That might be good, to be real with you. I mean, he's done very well. I think that a lot of it incorporates Jalen Hurts' feedback. So I don't think that it's, just Kellen Moore saying this is what we do, go do it. I think a lot of it is like what works well for you, what, can we work around with you? So I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, this is going to be perfect. Everything's going to work out fine. There might be bumps in the road, but I do think that it's more of a collaborative effort. And I haven't heard or seen any type of, and trust me, I think Philadelphia media would be the first to, point it out. I haven't heard or seen anything as far as them, butting heads or Jalen wanting to be, more of the guy or anything like that. So I'm cool with it so far. We'll see. Obviously, that's something we're going to have to continuously watch throughout the season. So you're not wrong for bringing it up. But right now, it seems like they're kind of getting along, and even Nick Sirianni seems like he's doing what he's supposed to do, whatever that is. He's doing it, I guess. You know what I'm saying? So, we'll see what happens. Okay. Any more questions about the Eagles? Seems like not. At the end of the day, the Eagles going to win the Super Bowl. And,
we know that ain't happening. We know that ain't happening. That's not going to happen.
I don't know why people think that James be bullying me just because we agree on things. They be like, you let him say whatever.
No, Joe know I'm speaking the truth. Like, y'all Eagles fans be getting mad. I don't be trying to hate. I really don't be trying to hate on things I just really see from the team perspective. Now, the diehard Phillies are always going to hate everything I say about Philly. Any little thing I say, the diehards are going to say, blah, 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 they're going to say that. But the analytical, the people who ain't swaying or ain't just keeping it real, just like when y'all say something about Dallas, I may not like what y'all just said, but if it's real, it's real, and that's just what it is.
Yeah. James nailed it, to be honest with you. I was going to jump in and ask a question to Joe, but I couldn't because I think he nailed it. I think the Eagles, basically, they have a lot of talent on offense. I think Saquon's going to be a good fit for them. I think it's going to be a multiple offense where they can run the ball, and I think the Philadelphia will be strong. The dynamics, I think that's going to be what makes or breaks the team. Are they going to get along well, right? Like A.J. Brown, I love the player. I think he's an awesome player. He's a great wide receiver, but he's kind of a hothead, right? What happens if he's not getting fed the ball a lot? What happens if Saquon's not getting fed the ball a lot? How is Jalen Hurts going to, if he has a bad game, how's he going to react there? So that's one thing. Then James nailed it. Vic Fangio, I think, is kind of a name. Like, he's kind of like a common name you hear about in the NFL, but is he dated now? There's a lot of film that's on Vic Fangio. He's been coaching for years and years and years. Is he truly special? Is he going to stand out? Is he going to bring a lot of pressure? We don't know. So I think Eagles have the talent, but at the same time, are they going to be able to put it into action? So we'll see how that plays out.
Dolphins had a pretty good defense last year. I will say that. I know that there's a lot of rumors that the players didn't necessarily like Vic Fangio, but I don't really know if Vic Fangio was like all the way there because we were trying to get him before last year too. So it might have been one of those, all right, let me just get a job until I get my job. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't know. He's a professional, so I assume that's not the case. But, I mean, they had a decent defense. I mean, statistically especially. So I'm gonna hope for the best. And they're good on Madden, so that's good for me.
That's
you know
true.
what I'm saying? They're good on Madden. So, but I will say, I feel like us three, especially, we talk way more junk behind the scenes than we do when we're on because we try to do it for y'all. I mean, realistically, I think that's what we all get on this, and we turn on the camera and we're like, all right, let's give them the truth. Let's give them what they're probably not going to hear other places. I know a lot of Eagles people, a lot of Cowboys people, a lot of, Commanders people are going to say rainbows and sunshine, but there's three sides to every story, right?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, we're just trying to give y'all our perspective of the truth as best we can. So I appreciate everybody in the chat, man. This is always amazing time. I appreciate George. I appreciate James. It's always a fun time to do this. And maybe we do need to get some other outside perspectives from our squad. So maybe we'll get your boy. I don't know. We got to get some people on here. We got to get some people on here, get some other perspectives on what's happening in the NFL. But we have 350 people still in here. Thank you so much. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe. Do y'all got anything y'all want to say to these beautiful people before we get up out of here?
Just want to say thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for jumping in the chat. Thank you for the conversations. We appreciate it. If you guys care if you guys are interested, on Tuesday on my show at 5:00, we're doing a film breakdown. Like my friend Nick Ackridge works for PFF and Mark Bullock works for The Athletic. We build a good relationship. We're going to break down the Commanders playbook and the plays that go down over there. So if you want to check it out, we'll be on live. It's Big Doug and Carmi shows, but my main channel, Big Doug and Carmi.
Yeah, I definitely want to check that out. And just the thing I'm gonna say too, I just to bounce off George on that, I got a guy that does film breakdown as well, and we've been talking about doing a weekly show, just strictly film breakdown. After we see a game, we just go right to the tape and just talk about film breakdown, just the whole show. And I got a guy in mind. He's very good in these streets. I'm not gonna throw his name out there right now because we're still in the works of trying to put it together. So I don't want to throw it out there and then it don't materialize. But I'm definitely thinking about doing that. And we're looking to do it like on a Monday because it's right after the game and you can hit right back and jump right into the tape on. So just keep your eyes open. I like film breakdown because, when you first watch the initial tape, you're like, oh my God, he played like this. He played like that. He played like trash. And then when you go to the tape, you're like, yeah, I need to shut up because that's not what happened.
It opens your eyes, man. If you actually don't break down the concept, you don't know what's going on. It really opens your eyes.
Oh my God, it changes. It changes everything. When you watch that tape, you're like, okay, you need to calm down a little bit because you saw something that totally wasn't there. So watch the tape. Yep.
100%.
Yeah, so I'm excited, man. Definitely go show love. Definitely, I mean, outside of this, especially Eagles fans, I know y'all like to talk junk to all these people, you know what I'm saying? But we all family, you know what I'm saying? So some of these guys have been here forever, like Sugar Daddy Williams, Drew, some of these have been here forever. So we've seen each other grow, and having George on this is just it just made so much sense. So we're gonna work on something for next week, and we're gonna have some fun because football is back, less than 20 days away from kickoff, and I can't wait. I'm gonna cry. But it's Sunday. We got things to do. We appreciate y'all so much, but y'all know what it is, man. I am Joe. That is James, and that's my dog George. We are the best of enemies. Peace.